Welcome to another episode of Mystery Stamping. And today I do have two cards. I like this card layout, and I'm hoping that you will too, and that it will give you lots of inspiration to use different types of DSPs and different stamps and things to get some really cute cards. So for the first card, I have, I believe this is gray granite. I'm pretty certain that it is. And it is 5.5 by 8.5. And then for our cardstock here, I've got some embellishments here. I have, let's see, there it is. So I have my piece of just regular cardstock, and this is that Summer Splash, I do believe it is, and it is 2.25 by 3.75. Then I have my piece of glimmer paper, and you could use cardstock, or I'm using glimmer paper, and it's a 1/2 inch by 4 inch. And then for vanilla, I have a circle to do either some stamping or just as a background layer. And then my inside piece is 3.5 by 5, and if you cut it to those dimensions, you should get 5 pieces out of your cardstock. And then with our designer series paper, the designer series paper that I am using is the Nests of Winter, and it's 12 by 12. And then we're going to use a sentiment out of the Winterly Treetops, and this was an exclusive order that we could put in if you were a demonstrator for the Creativity Now. And so I'm just trying to give some other ideas on using the supplies that we had for that Stampin' Up sponsored activities. And so we were only allowed to get 1 pack of paper and the stamp set, and I think some embellishments, but it will be coming out in the near future, and so then you could purchase your own pack of it. So I'm giving a few ideas on ahead of time on using that paper, so I thought that was a good use of it for this card. So for that DSP, I have this piece right here, and it is 4 inches by 5.25. And then I have another piece that is 3.5 by 3/4. This could either have been DSP or vellum, and so I went with the DSP, and it is 1 3/4 by 5 inches, and I put it in the paper cutter, and I think it was like 7/8. I cut it down just a little notch and then cut from corner to the top of the notch to make it a flagged in. So if you have your DSP or you have your vellum, you can just cut it up the middle and then cut and make that little flagged in. If you want, you don't have to. Okay, so there's that. And then I went ahead and I cut a piece of the DSP, and I made it for my focal, so I just cut out these birds. I thought the colors matched up nicely, and so that's what I'm going with. So we will get started with the rest of this card. So to start things, I'll scooch this all off to the side over here. I'll take my gray granite card base. I'll fold this little gem in half. Grab my bone folder and then crease. Open it back up. Grab that 3.5 by 5 inch piece of cardstock, and it should be Whisper White, or it could be Very Vanilla, depending on the DSP that you're using. My glue's a little clogged, I do believe. And I'm going to go ahead and place that inside my card base right there. I'm going to run a little bit of glue, not at the very bottom, but near the bottom. And then that little 3/4 inch piece of DSP, that's going to go right inside here. Which you probably had already figured that out, being as it was a narrow piece and it was 3.5, the same length of the inside piece was wide. All right, so now I'm going to start building my focal. I'm going to take the piece that is the 4 by 5.25, and that is, well, that's our focal that I'm going to work on. And I'm going to take the next piece of our DSP and I'm going to add glue to the back of this. Okay. And then I'm going to bring it up here to the top of this DSP. And then I'm going to make it about 1 inch off the edge here, off the left edge. But I want it to be flush at the top. This piece here, now you can either stamp your greeting on the circle. I'm going to put my greeting on this piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to bring in my Memento ink and one of the stamps out of that stamp set, Thinking of You Always. I'm going to ink that up. Come up here and I'm going to stamp at the top of this piece of cardstock. Okay. I want to add dimensionals to the back of this. You can keep yours all one dimension if you want. I like to pop things up. So I'll add this. I hope that you guys like this. And if you give this a try when I add this to my Facebook posting, then if you make a card using this pattern, if you would just put it in the description in the below the post, that would be awesome. So now that I want to bring this up towards the top, but I want to leave only about 1/2 inch on the right side and about maybe 5/8 at the top. So like that. Okay, so that's what we have so far. I'm going to go ahead and add this to the front of my card base. I do the corners first and around the outside. That way I make sure my corners lie down. So I'm going to add that like that. I'm going to take my bone folder and I'll crease that just again because it keeps wanting to pop open on me. There we go. All right, so now it's time for our little piece of glimmer paper. So what I've decided is I need to look at it. I'm going to put it across these two pieces, and it's going to go from the edge of the DSP to the edge of the DSP. So I need some mini dimensionals to put on this one end. I'm going to leave the backing on for now because I need to find out where I'm going to put glue and where I'm going to put dimensionals. So that, yep, that was perfect there. So then I need dimensionals on about 1/3 of it. Put my finger right there where I want to Make certain I don't put it past them. And add them there. Take the backings off. I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but one time I only took backing off of one of them and stuck it on my card and could not figure out why it was not sticking, and I had forgot the backings of the other ones. It doesn't work that way. And so then I'm going to bring this over and make certain my edge is right there. And then lay that down. And the reason why we did it that way, this is raised up, and if we put a dimensional there, it would kind of make a bow. So the dimensionals are on this edge, then just glue, and then dimensional and dimensional, so that it keeps it pretty, flat. So there's that. And then now I want to add my birds to my circle. Like I said, this could be your sentiment. I put mine there. And so I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my birds. That may seem like a lot of dimensionals. I hope I wasn't off camera there. But considering it is the focal part of it and it's already raised up here, I wanted to be certain that it will hold it correctly, how I wish for it to be. So I'm just going to put that on my circle like that. And I could just glue this down if I wanted, and I'm going to, but here and here I need some dimensionals. So I'm putting my fingers where it need be, but just at the top and at the bottom, but I don't need them here. So I'm going to grab my scissors. Put that there. And then I'm going to do glue elsewhere. I don't want to make it overly bulky, but I'm trying to, because this already has dimension behind it in places, then I am just trying to there, like that. And then that is our card. Now I'm going to give it some extra shine and shimmer. I'm going to take my alcohol, a little trick that I always do. I'm going to need some more alcohol in this. I'm going to spritz it to give it some shimmer. Now, it's all splotchy at the moment. There just went my thing. But it does give it shine. So this will dry because I used alcohol, not water. So this will, it will dry. And I don't know if you can catch, yeah, you can see that glitz on there. So not only is this glitzy, so is all of this right here. And this is the one that I made earlier. So it was all splotchy as well, and it will eventually dry. So there is our first card, thinking of you always. Now I will state that when using alcohol, when you're using regular ink, sometimes if you get it too heavily on it, it will kind of bleed just a bit, but not bad. So there is our first card. Now on this one, I did go ahead and take Wink of Stella. I don't know if you can catch it. Yeah, just glimmering there just a little bit under here and on the wings. I did add it to there. So I think I'll go ahead and do that here as well. So I just add it to their little, feathers at the top. down their wings, their underneath their wings and their belly, just to give it some more shimmer. And there we go. And there you can see it. So that is our first card. Now then we will move on to the second card, and I'm going to need this. I'm going to this over. Now this one here is using our Flowering Zinnia 12 by 12 paper and the Simply Zinnia, Zinnia, however you pronounce it. And then we're going to use this Thanks So Much down here. So we're going to use this image, this Thanks So Much, and then this paper. So I like to give more than one idea. So the paper that we're using is the 8.5 by 11. It is the Blackberry Bliss. I always want to call it Rich Razzleberry, but Blackberry Bliss. And then our card piece, our cardstock, is the 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, and this is Melon Mumbo. My Glimmer paper, and this is the, I think it's called Pretty in Pink, but I thought it looked nice with this and the DSP that I'm using. So that is a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. Then I have a circle, and this is going to, my sentiment will be on that one, and an image. And then 3.5 by 5 for the inside. My first piece of DSP is 4 by 5 1/4. This one's 3 3/4 by 3.5. And then I have this one that is 1 3/4 by 5. And this one I already cut it on the paper cutter at 7/8 and 7/8 both. So it's right in the middle. And I cut up so far. And then I'm going to go from the corner to that tip. And from the corner to that tip, just in case you did not know how to do that. So that's my piece there. So we will get started putting this one together. So I'm going to slide this off to the side over here. Take this card base, line that up, grab that bone folder, like that. I'm going to add glue to the 3.5 by 5 inch piece. Add that to the inside, just like that. You could make Christmas cards like this. Use actually that when the winterly tops, treetops, could be a Christmas one if you pull the Christmas sentiment in with it, or it can just be a wintry one. Okay, so this one I forgot to trim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down, because what it is it's just the bottom of this. I just cut the 3/4 inch off this because I had a piece of DSP, so that's where the measurements have came from. And so I'm just going to trim that off. So if you left yours too long, as I just did, that's all you do. I don't glue my whole piece down. I just do it at the top. I noticed that when I looked at greeting cards in the store, the inside piece was never always all the way glued down. So I thought, well, that's not going to be as much of a moving part, because most people are looking at the front and messing with the front, but when they open it, they're not going to be lifted and things like that. So that's why I did it that way. I'll take this piece of the DSP, add glue to this here second piece. did the corners and the centers. And I'll bring this in and add it close to the top there like that. And then I want to bring this in. And with this one here, I'm just going to glue it directly down. So I'm trying to show different ways that you can do this pattern. Hopefully help you with some inspiration. If you are liking this card and you are catching the replay on YouTube, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can get other inspiration from the other videos that I have. Now I want to bring in this glimmer paper, and I'm going to add that right across there, and I'm just gluing it directly down as well. So you don't have to pop things up. You can give it lots of dimension with just the different textures of the DSPs and the cardstocks and the glimmer paper. So I'm going to add this here. Open this up. For those that are with me live and those that are catching the replay, I appreciate you joining me for these fun mystery stamps. So there's that. So that is our card so far, and I'm going to set this off to the side and then bring in this scratch paper because I knew I would need it. I'm going to bring in Blackberry Bliss. I almost called it Ruth Raspberry. I do not know why I don't remember that name, but it's like I just want to call it. I think I like the way the other one flows off my tongue. So I'm going to use my words first, and I'll put it right through the center and stamp and come up. So there's that so far. I am finished with this color. Close that one up. Then I want to bring in my Melon Mambos. I'm going to bring those colors in. Open that one up. Ink up my zinnia. And for this, I don't want it too dark. So I'm going to stamp off once, stamp off twice, and then I'm going to make certain with the thank you and my stems. Then the third time I'm stamping on my circle. There we go. And it gives it that little soft background, but you can still see the thank you so much because I use a darker ink. So there's that. Okay. Now this one I'm going to add the dimensionals to and pop it up. I didn't pop anything else up on this card. Starting to lose my voice. Okay. Take the backings here off. This over, and I want to try to make my words as straight as I can with this piece here. So like that. I also have a few things to bring in to embellish it with. I'm going to grab, and these are iridescent adhesive backed discs. And they're $7, or at least they used to be. I think they still are. I know we had some price increases. So I'm going to bring that right up here. I'll grab another one of the purpley ones. I want to put one right over there. Bring this one in. I'll put that one down there. Then I want to go to these that are a little bit more iridescent or pinkish looking. I'll add that one there. Bring this one in. And I want to add it here. And so that is our second card. So our mystery has been solved, but I'm going to add something more to this. I have another, hopefully. That one's water. There's one that's got alcohol and the Winkastella in it. The Winkastella like sticks at the bottom, but then when you shake it up, it mixes it all in. You can kind of see it swirling in there. And so it will soften that the zinnias in the background when I spritz this. I like to give it a nice spritz so that I get lots of shimmer. Get that out of the way. And then this is the one I just did. See all that glitz on that darker color there? It just makes the whole thing shimmer. It softens up that background zinnia. So this makes it, the darker stamp makes it pop more. And then here it is after it dries. So there we go. That is our second card. And depending on your DSP, like this one here was the piece that is like this. So I thought that was good use of it. I could cut it into those 1 3/4 strips and use it. And you could get the little bits and pieces showing through. And then using this here solid color there. So there's that card. And here is this card. I hope that these cards gave you a little bit of inspiration to create and to use whatever DSPs that you have. That's the beauty of doing mystery stamp, is you use your supplies that you have at home. It doesn't have to be Stampin' Up. Of course, I use Stampin' Up because I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And so, but you use what you have. If you have, papers from box stores, use those. If you have stamps from box stores, use those. Just use the supplies that you have, and hopefully you'll get a little bit of inspiration. You can go from one style to another style, and just by changing out the papers. I plan on trying to create a few more cards with this design. And so I'll probably do some retired papers, like the maybe Trusty Tools or the Gone Fishing paper, or I might even use some of the current paper that's in our catalog. That is the airplanes. I think it's Up in the Air or Take Flight or some. No, Take Flight I think was birds. But anyway, the airplanes and different things. So I do plan on creating a few more cards using the same designs, so to try to give you some other inspiration. And if you wanted to, you could make this back piece be cardstock, and this piece could be the DSP. You can switch things around. Just because I give you directions that it's cardstock or DSP or different things, you can always, once you've made this card, you could always say, well, I would rather this be the DSP so I can see it better. But the reason why I did it this way is so that it's subtle, but you can change it up. It's your project. It's your creation. So when you create some of these, please share them with me. I'd love to see what you come up with. So thank you for joining me for another mystery stamp, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next one. Happy stamping!